Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now. My Dad, you are looking colorful today. Are you wearing these shirts just because you know you're going to be on video?
No, because I only have a certain number of them with me.
Oh, okay.
The rest are at home.
So, Nomies asked you a few questions. You posted to our private Facebook group, and all the registered Nomies should have access to that. And if you want to ask Dad a question that way, you head over to nomies.com. And so you asked them if they had questions, and they asked you questions.
Yeah, they did ask me some.
All right, so go ahead. Oh, wait, were you going to say something first?
Yeah, I was going to bring my iPad, but it got too weighted down with them yellow Post-it notes. So. Yeah,
apparently that was a hit yesterday. You called the ball on that one.
But I'm just going to show you something. I was trying to figure out how I could keep track of the questions that Chris has here. I'm not quite sure how he did it. I'll have him show me, but what I did is I did a screenshot with my iPhone. So I really have the questions, but I had to take it a little section at a time. But I thought I had to slap myself on the back because that was pretty creative for me.
How did you take a screenshot in case people don't know how?
You hold down the home button and touch the top button simultaneously, I guess. And then you'll hear it click and it takes the picture, screenshot, or whatever's on the screen at the time. So that's kind of cool to know. Actually, I learned that from my wife. She taught me.
All right, so the questions.
Okay. Dave DeFranco asked, well, here, let's do Alex first. He asked, what made me a politician? I was never really a politician, and I voted that way, and people seemed to like the honesty. And I felt I was always more a common sense person. And the reason I got involved was to better my community and give some back. But I did that for 22 years as city councilman. And then Dave asked when Chris originally showed signs of being interested in technology. He picked that up. My father-in-law bought a VIC-20 that Chris walked in when he was working with that and kind of started playing around with that. And I think that was probably the start of that. But I had personally always had computers around the house that I would use for accounting or whatever. I had a machine that cost, I don't know, $10,000 at the time, and I think it was 64K, and had a big old teletype printer, but it didn't do a whole lot, and you had these great big floppy disks that you had to put in and out. And then we had TRS-80 once, and then we had a Commodore 64, and then we went to the PCs. And so I guess that's the real start or birth of Chris's technology travel, or travel through technology. He also student taught down in Texas. And my understanding, you'll have to verify, my understanding was he was teaching there and he liked teaching. However, they were looking for someone that could talk to the kids about technology. And Chris thought that was a pretty good idea, so he started doing that. And that probably really got the juices flowing. And after that, we always would ask him, well, why aren't you teaching? And he would say, well, I just teach in a different way, which I always thought was kind of cool. So, is that true? Is that the way it was? Right. My favorite mobile app, I think I mentioned this the other day, and that was from Tom Brown. And the one about the politician was Alex Perro. And then David Franco asked about Chris's growth in technology. And Tom Brown, what's my favorite mobile application is the email. It's my favorite because I can check my email and stay on top of things. Now I do the Twitter and the Facebook stuff, so I can stay on top of that. So those things, it's kind of neat. The social aspect of all this is kind of neat. And I think a lot of people, you don't have to worry about your age or what you look like when you're on the computer, because and no one's going to judge you from your appearance as they do in school. You're either too short, too tall, too fat, too short. Your hair's too curly, it's too wide, it's too long, it's too short, all that stuff. But here, people recognize you for what you know and what you share. and you're on an equal footing, and I like that about the social part of all this. So I guess those are my favorite apps, and then beyond that, of course, I like all the games. I mentioned golf is a good one. I like the flying games. Somewhere down here someone asked me or mentioned flight controller, and actually that was one of the first ones I had. I think that's down towards the bottom. Oh, where's that at? I don't like yours. And I guess Diana Bishop is not going to blow up things today, so, but she's going to keep us posted on what she does.
Well,
she changed it to the next week, or the next weekend, I think.
Legally blow things up, not like,
Oh yeah, I guess legally. Yeah, we should say that in today's society. We don't want people to chase her down and
blowing up watermelons.
Yeah, blowing up watermelons and water jugs. I think she mentioned too, which would be kind of cool and would make a pretty good explosion.
Any other questions on there? If not, you may have. Kat Shaw asks, what you do is far more important than what you look like. So she's reiterating that.
Yeah, and I agree with that. That's good. That's very good.
Hojo. How many new nomies by the end of the show do y'all think? That's it. See, this is why it's difficult to pay attention to chat, because sometimes you look at it, it's like, well, that's not...
Well, it's rolling so fast, you got so many people putting input, so you try and concentrate on one and it rolls up, then you're up there, and then the next thing you know, it's off the screen, especially for us folks that are slower readers than others. That would be me.
Kat Shaw says he's stealing your fan club.
Okay. I kind of look at this, Chris's locker gnome, and I kind of look this as a locker full of gnomes. So you guys are all gnomies, so that's a locker full of gnomies.
It's kind of like.
So it's kind of cool watching everybody share, and I think everybody can learn from each other. I think if you keep it in that text, it'll be good for the whole community. You can share your thoughts and your ideas related to business or to things related to the tech world, because that's the kind of group you have. You got all those other things you can talk about, the politics. There's things you can talk politics. There's places you can go and talk about the weather even. So this is a good spot for all you folks, as best I know you all.
So Brian is asking behind you, he's in orange there, Joe, would you change the way schools educate? If so, how?
Yeah, I like what I'm hearing with the, I guess there's some schools that are introducing iPads, so the kids don't have to carry a pile of books around with them. They just simply carry the iPad, and I'm going to assume the cost of the textbook that they have on their iPad will be a lot lower. So that should help drive the cost of education down a little bit. I do have some concerns with the discipline side of education. I think we've kind of lost some of that. Most of the kids, I think, are there to learn, but you get a few that become a little bit disruptive, and that affects that whole classroom atmosphere. And if a teacher steps in, then a lot of times the teacher gets in trouble with the parents, and I'm not going to know who's right or wrong, but at the same time, it's kind of tough for a teacher to do their job without the support of the parents. And they got to be able to control their classroom, because it's not just one person learning, it's that whole group that's learning.
So there's a question that Fazal repeated. Lisa asked how, I'm trying to remember it exactly because it just scrolled off the screen, but how do you teach technology to a person who's apprehensive about technology? There, that one there. Yeah. How would you teach technology to someone who's fairly apprehensive about it?
Well, I'll tell you what, you guys can do this, because you're all across the board, age-wise and knowledge-wise. I always thought it'd be great, and I hate to say I'm getting closer to it, but when we were involved in scouting and that kind of thing, especially in the Christmas time when everybody has a spirit, but we should use that spirit all the time. But we would visit people in the homes, in the
old folks' homes.
Yeah, old folks' homes, and where they need extended care and those kinds of things. And the relatives, once they get to that position, the relatives tend to forget them. And I think this whole FaceTime is a great deal, because if we, and I say we because I should do it too, if we take our iPads in there, make sure we have internet or we have some way to do the FaceTime, is to sit down and coordinate with a person's relatives so they can look at their relatives and talk to them in real time. It's the next best thing of actually being there. Back when I was in the service, there was a group of CB operators, ham operators, and we used to make phone calls via the radio. We would contact a ham operator who would jump to a ham operator someplace else, and we would talk to whoever we were talking to those two ham operators. In fact, when we got through saying something, we used to have to say over, just the regular radio etiquette. And when you were done, you would say out. But I think this brings a whole new thing, that being able to see them and talk to them is great. I know Judy's dad is, I want to say 93, just stopped riding his bicycle last year. He's in great shape, so I'm sure Judy's going to be around a long time. But when we take the iPad, we find some place that for a meal that has internet, and we'll take that, and once in a while we'll FaceTime with Chris, or Ben and my other son with his kids, or Adam with his twins. And Ben has twins. Doesn't run in the family because the other twins are kind of adopted. But they're great nonetheless. And just watching him, because what he'll do, and he sees him, because us old people, we like to pinch people on the cheek, so he kind of reaches out to the screen and touches them. And so it's kind of neat, and I'm sure they would all react similar ways. But again, the neat thing is they would actually be able to see their relatives rather than just talking to them on a telephone or something. And I think facial expression is important when you communicate. But that's just me.
All right. They're saying you should. They want to ask more questions, and so I figured, hey, they're saying askjoe.perillo.com. Although you have joe.perillo.com, that redirects to your YouTube, and you watched the YouTube webinar, so you're going to start YouTube?
Yeah, I went to a webinar I watched Chris's, and then I saw Zeth is an accountant, Zeth David, I think it is, and he did a webinar, and if you're in business, you should have been at that one, because he kind of showed people how to read financial statements. A balance sheet, an income statement, a cash flow statement, those kinds of things, so they can better run their business, or you can better run your business. And not limited to that, because you can run your life better too. And someone asked in here too about making a budget video. Yeah. I think that was one of the later.
Well, because Seth offered that to Nomies for free this morning. Yeah. Yeah,
and it was good. I liked it. A lot of good information.
So if you want to ask Dad a question, you of course could ask on YouTube. His email address, he's got the web domain, or he's now in Nomies too. Yes, Joe is a Nomie. So if my dad is a Nomie, what are you waiting for?
Come and join us.